Gentle sunlight streamed through the old oak trees in the suburbs of Boston, where Alex Bourne lived a quiet life. He rented a corner of an old warehouse from Mrs. Beano, Betty White, a retired teacher with a kind smile. Alex, a man of few words, spent his days tending to the wood in the warehouse and fixing things for Mrs. Betty. Today, he climbed onto her roof to patch a leak after a heavy rain. The old tiles creaked under his steady footsteps. Mrs. Betty stood below, looking up, holding a warm cup of tea. "Thank you, Alex," she said, her voice trembling slightly with age. "No one has paid any mind to this roof since my husband passed away." Alex nodded, offering a rare smile. He did not like to talk much, but her sincerity warmed him. She spoke of her lonely years and of her daughter, Olivia Benson, a busy FBI agent who rarely visited. "She works in Washington. She must be very busy." She sighed. Alex listened, his hands still working deftly. He mentioned that he enjoyed the simple life here, far from the noisy city. Mrs. Betty smiled and invited him to stay for dinner. They sat in the small kitchen, the yellow light casting a glow on the wooden walls. She talked about her teaching days and the students who had loved her. Alex talked about renovating the warehouse, but mentioned nothing of his past. He always kept his secrets, like a silent ghost. Suddenly, the phone rang. Mrs. Betty answered, her voice growing anxious. A man claiming to be a bank employee said her account had been hacked. "You need to install this software immediately, or you will lose all your money," he threatened. With her limited knowledge of technology, Mrs. Betty panicked and followed his instructions. Alex saw her trembling and asked what was wrong, but she just waved him away, saying it was a small matter at a scam center in Springfield, not far from Boston. The manager, Mickey Garza, laughed loudly as Mrs. Betty's account information appeared on the screen. $2 million in a charity fund, a gold mine, he exclaimed, ordering his accomplices to exploit it. They used the accidental transfer trick to lure her into giving up her password. A fake transaction of $50,000 was sent, and then they pretended to beg her to return the excess money. Mrs. Betty, afraid of losing the memories on her computer, hastily complied. In just a few minutes, her entire fortune, including the charity fund, was drained. Mrs. Betty realized the truth when the call was abruptly disconnected. Despair overwhelmed her. Alex returned to her house in the evening, bringing a jar of homemade jam as promised. He knocked on the door and called her name, but there was no answer. Sensing something was wrong, he pushed the door open and went inside. In the dark living room, he found Mrs. Betty lying motionless, a gun beside her. Grief washed over him. He stood silently, his hand clutching the jar of jam. Just then, Olivia Benson walked in. She had just landed from Washington, returning to visit her mother after many months. Seeing Alex standing there, holding the jar of jam with a sorrowful look in his eyes, she misunderstood. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" she yelled, drawing her gun and aiming it at him. Without letting Alex explain, she handcuffed him and pushed him towards a patrol car. "My mother? What did you do to my mother?" she screamed, tears welling in her eyes. At the Boston police station, Olivia interrogated Alex. He only offered an apology, his voice low and sad. "I am Alex Bourne. I was just helping her with house repairs." But Olivia did not believe him, insisting he was the suspect, Agent Matt Wilkins. Her colleague tried to calm her down, suggesting the theory that Mrs. Betty had committed suicide. Olivia rejected it, unable to accept that her mother, who had always loved life, would choose to end it. The preliminary investigation results came back quickly. There was no gunshot residue on Alex's hands. The fingerprints on the gun matched Mrs. Betty's. All evidence pointed to suicide. Olivia, though heartbroken, was forced to release Alex. He left the station, his eyes thoughtful. Mrs. Betty's tragedy had awakened a fire within him. He knew the scammers had to pay. Which area are you listening to this story from? And what time is it where you are right now? Leave a comment below so I know you are still healthy and fully focused on this story. My dear friend, we will continue right after this. In the FBI office in Boston, light from the window illuminated Olivia Benson's grief-stricken face. She sat at her desk, clutching a photo of her mother, Mrs. Betty White, smiling at a school festival. The pain of losing her mother was like a dagger in her heart. Olivia could not believe that her mother, always so full of life, would choose to commit suicide. She reviewed the investigation report, reading every line about the fingerprints and test results. Everything pointed to the bitter truth, but she still refused to accept it. Agent Matt Wilkins walked in, carrying a cup of coffee. Olivia, you need to rest, he said in a warm, low voice, but she shook her head, her eyes sharp and cold. No, Matt. My mother did not kill herself out of sadness. Someone pushed her to this. She recalled Alex Bourne's words at the police station, that Mrs. Betty had been scammed. We need to check my mother's bank accounts, she said, her voice firm. Matt nodded, opened his computer, and accessed the system. After a few minutes, they discovered a series of strange transactions from Mrs. Blank, Betty's account, all leading to a company called United Data Corp, located in Springfield, not far from Boston. This is not a banking company. Matt frowned. Something is shady. Olivia stood up and put on her jacket. I will find out. If Alex Bourne knows anything, I will make him talk. Meanwhile, at the warehouse in the Boston suburbs, Alex Bourne sat in the darkness, the light from a flashlight illuminating an old map. He had contacted his old secret organization, the Guardians, through an encrypted line. I need information, he said into the communication device, his voice low but sharp. The person on the other end, a woman with a cold voice, hesitated. Alex, you are retired. This is not worth it. But Alex cut her off. Mrs. Betty is worth it. Find their den for me. Now, after a few minutes, the information arrived. United Data Corp, a scam center in Springfield run by Mickey Garza, was part of a larger network. Alex checked his bag, taking out a dagger, a silenced pistol, and a few vials of chemicals. He knew his peaceful life was over. The fire of justice burned within him, and the scammers would have to pay. On the streets of Boston, Olivia was tailing Alex in her car. She saw him leave the warehouse with a suspicious bag, his cold gaze completely different from the simple man her mother had known. She reported to Matt over the radio, he is on the move. I am following him. Matt sighed over the radio. Olivia, be careful. If he is not a suspect, then what is he? A vigilante? Olivia did not answer. She pressed the gas, keeping her distance from Alex's old truck. In Springfield, Alex parked his truck in a dark alley. The United Data Corp building appeared before him, its neon sign flickering. He watched from a distance, seeing 4 guards patrolling the main gate. Using his trained skills, he slipped past the fence. Avoiding the security cameras, a guard suddenly appeared behind him, but Alex was lightning fast, putting the man in a chokehold and squeezing until he passed out. He dragged the body into the shadows and continued to move in. Inside the building, dozens of employees sat in front of screens, their sweet voices luring victims over the phone. Alex stood in a dark corner, listening. Just send the OTP code, ma'am, and you will get your money back immediately, one of them said, with a smirk. Alex felt his blood boil. He stepped out, his voice cold. Hang up, all of you, right now. The entire room fell silent, staring at him as if he were a madman. Miki Garza, the center's manager, stormed out of his office. Who the hell are you to give orders? He roared, signaling his henchmen to draw their guns. Alex gave a faint smile. I am the one who delivers justice. You people robbed Mrs. Betty White. Big mistake. Without waiting for a reaction, he threw a smoke vial, and the room filled with mist. Gunshots rang out, but Alex was already moving, taking down the men one by one with his dagger. One tried to run, but he grabbed him by the collar and smashed his head against a desk. Mickey panicked, pulling out his gun and firing wildly. Alex dodged the bullets, lunged forward, and broke his arm. Talk. Who is behind you? He growled. Mickey stammered but did not have time to answer. Alex poured flammable chemicals around the office and lit a match. Flames erupted, consuming everything. He left, leaving behind a warning: never rob the weak again. Olivia and Matt arrived at the scene while the fire was still burning. Surviving witnesses described a tall man who moved like a professional assassin. Olivia suspected it was Alex, but Matt shook his head. This is not a common criminal. He is taking revenge. Olivia clenched her fists. Whoever he is, I will find him. Alex Bourne stood silently in the darkness, watching the United Data Corp building. The flickering neon sign concealed the dark truth within. He pulled on black gloves and checked his bag: a dagger, a silenced pistol, and a vial of flammable chemicals. His eyes were ice cold, showing no trace of the simple man who once fixed Mrs. Plaint, Betty White's roof. Her tragedy had awakened the beast within him, an assassin who once belonged to the organization known as the Guardians. Alex moved as quietly as a ghost, avoiding the light from the security cameras. 4 guards patrolled the main gate, handguns visible at their hips. He stuck to the walls, waiting for an opportunity. One guard left his post and stepped into a dark corner for a smoke. Alex lunged, lightning fast, locking his left arm around the man's neck and squeezing until he collapsed. He dragged the body behind a pile of trash cans, making sure no one would see it. The remaining 3 guards were still oblivious, unaware of the approaching danger. He climbed over the fence and slipped into the building through a side door. Inside, dozens of employees sat in front of screens, their sweet voices echoing through their headsets. You just need to provide the OTP code, ma'am, and the money will be refunded immediately, one of them said with a nasty smile. Alex stood in the shadows, his blood boiling. These people had stolen everything from Mrs. Betty, pushing her to despair. He clenched his fists and stepped into the light. Hang up, all of you, right now. His cold voice echoed through the room. The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on the tall man in the black coat. A panicked employee tried to hit an alarm button, but Alex threw his dagger, pinning the man's hand to the desk. A scream rang out. Miki Garza, the center's manager, burst out of his office. Who the hell are you to cause trouble? He roared, signaling his henchmen to draw their guns. Alex gave a faint smile. I am Alex Bourne. You robbed Mrs. Betty White. The biggest mistake of your lives. Without waiting for a reaction, Alex threw a smoke vial from his bag. The room filled with white smoke. Gunshots rang out, but he was already moving, as fast as a phantom. One henchman charged, but Alex dodged the punch, broke his wrist, and then smashed his head into a computer monitor. A second man raised his gun, but Alex spun, kicked the weapon away, and then stabbed his dagger into the man's shoulder. Screams mixed with the sound of shattering glass. In just a few seconds, 5 henchmen lay on the floor. Mickey Garza panicked, firing wildly. Alex dodged the bullets, rushing forward like the wind, and broke his arm, causing the gun to fall. "Talk." "Who is behind you?" he growled. Pressing the dagger to Mickey's throat, he stammered, trying to make an excuse. "I was just doing my job." Alex had no patience. He grabbed Mickey by the collar, dragged him to a corner of the room, and took the vial of chemicals from his bag. "This is justice," he said, pouring the flammable liquid all over the office. The remaining employees scrambled to escape, but Alex did not pursue them. He lit a match. The fire roared to life, consuming the desks, computers, and the filthy dreams of the scammers. Alex left as the flames spread, leaving behind a cold warning: never rob the weak again. The building was engulfed in a sea of fire, the red glow illuminating the Springfield night sky. He disappeared into the darkness, leaving no trace. At the same time, Olivia Benson and Matt Wilkins received a fire alert from the fire department. They rushed to the scene, where black smoke was billowing high into the air. A surviving employee, trembling, described a tall man who acted like a professional assassin. "He told us to hang up. Then he burned everything." An employee stammered. Olivia clenched her fists. It was Alex Bourne, she said, her eyes cold as steel. Matt shook his head, his voice low. "This is no ordinary criminal, Olivia. He is taking revenge. The question is, where will he go next?" Olivia looked at the wreckage, her heart filled with conflict. She was angry that Alex had gone outside the law, but a part of her understood that he was doing what the system could not. "We need to find him before anyone else gets killed," she said, her voice resolute. Matt nodded, opening his laptop to trace the transactions of United Data Corp. If he is targeting the entire network, then this is just the beginning. Meanwhile, in a luxurious apartment in Madrid, Spain, Mickey Garza called his boss, Gordon Gecko, over a secure line to report. The building was torched. Some lunatic destroyed everything. He panicked. Gordon, in an icy tone, cut him off. "Handle it, Mickey. I don't pay you to whine." But as Mickey described Alex, Gordon began to worry. He ordered the security team to assemble, determined to eliminate this threat. Alex returned to the warehouse in Boston and checked his comms gear. A new message from the Guardians appeared. "The network is bigger than you think. The nerve center is in Madrid, Spain. Be careful." "Alex." He nodded, his gaze pensive. The fight had only just begun. The flames still smoldered in the ruins of United Data Corp in Springfield. But Alex Bourne had vanished into the night. In an old truck, he drove toward Boston, his eyes focused, his mind racing. Images of Mrs. Betty White flashed before him, to her gentle smile, her trembling voice as she spoke of her daughter, Olivia Benson. Alex gripped the steering wheel tightly. "They will pay," he whispered, his voice as low as an oath. In a luxurious apartment in Madrid, Spain, Mickey Garza tremblingly called his boss, Gordon Gecko. The laptop screen in front of him flickered, displaying a map that tracked fraudulent transactions. The building in Springfield was torched. Mickey yelled into the phone. Some lunatic took down the entire security team and then burned everything to the ground. Gordon, sitting in his lavish office, furrowed his brow. He was the son of President Selina Meyer, the mastermind behind the global fraud network. "A lunatic," Gordon repeated, his voice icy. Assemble the hunters. Deal with him. I don't want to hear of any more failures. Mickey nodded at the screen. Sweat pouring down his forehead. He ordered his henchman in Boston to find Alex's warehouse. He's a threat. Find and kill him. Mickey roared, his hand still aching from an injury from the fire. A team of 6 mercenaries, armed with rifles and daggers, got into a vehicle and headed for the outskirts of Boston. Meanwhile, Alex returned to his warehouse. Sensing the approaching danger, he had anticipated a counterattack. In the darkness, he checked the traps he had set. A steel wire stretched across the entrance. A gas canister hidden beneath the floorboards. He stood silently, listening for the slightest sound. The roar of an engine grew closer. Mickey's henchman appeared, breaking down the door and storming in. Find that bastard, one of them shouted, his rifle at the ready. But Alex was ready. He triggered the trap. A steel wire snapped up, slicing across the first man's legs and sending him to the ground screaming. An explosion erupted as the gas canister detonated, engulfing 2 more men in a fireball. Alex emerged from the shadows, his dagger gleaming. 1 mercenary charged, but Alex dodged the blow and plunged the knife into his chest. The 5th man raised his rifle, but Alex hurled an iron rod, impaling him through the neck. The air in the warehouse was thick with the stench of smoke and blood. Only Mickey and the last henchman were left. Panicked, Mickey pulled out his gun and fired wildly. Alex rolled away from the bullets, then charged, impaling the henchman on the tines of a forklift. The man collapsed, motionless. Mickey trembled, trying to run. Alex caught him, grabbing him by the collar and pressing a chainsaw to his arm. "Who are you working for?" he roared. Mickey sobbed, begging for his life. "It's Gordon Gekko. He's in Madrid. Spare me." Alex didn't hesitate. He tied Mickey inside the truck and sent it careening off a nearby bridge. The sound of twisting metal echoed through the night. At the same time, Olivia Benson and Matt Wilkins received a report about the fire at Mrs. Betty White's warehouse. They rushed to the scene, where black smoke billowed into the sky. The police found the bodies of the henchmen and Mickey's corpse under the bridge. Olivia stared at the wreckage, her heart in turmoil. "It was Alex Bourne," she said, her voice trembling. Matt shook his head. "He's not just seeking revenge. He's hunting the entire network." Olivia clenched her fists. She was furious that Alex was acting outside the law, but a part of her understood. Mrs. Betty did not deserve to suffer this tragedy. Matt checked his laptop and found that transactions from United Data Corp led to a larger branch in Madrid, Spain. If Alex is targeting the nerve center, he won't stop. Matt said. Olivia nodded, her gaze determined. "We have to find him before more people die. We fly to Madrid immediately." In Madrid, Gordon Gekko met with Jack Ryan, a former CIA director now serving as his security advisor. Jack refused to get directly involved. "This is not my affair," he said. But Gordon forced his hand. "My mother, Selena Meyer, will not forgive you if you let me die." Jack sighed and called an old friend at the CIA, requesting information on Alex. The reply sent a chill down his spine. Alex Bourne, a former agent of the Guardians, an unstoppable assassin. Alex sat in a grimy Boston coffee shop, checking a message from the Guardians. Madrid, Spain, major branch. Gordon Gekko is in charge. Be careful. Mercenaries are on site. He shut his laptop, his eyes cold. He got into his vehicle, preparing for the trip. The hunt was just beginning, and Gordon Gekko was his next target. Alex Bourne drove the old truck down deserted roads, his mind lost in memories. He remembered his days as an agent for the Guardians. a secret organization operating outside the law, dispensing its own brand of justice. He had retired after one last mission, burying his past to live peacefully with Mrs. Betty White. But her death had dragged him back in, awakening the predator within. He gripped the steering wheel, his cold gaze fixed on the road ahead. Madrid, Spain, would be his next destination. In his lavish Madrid apartment, Gordon Gekko slammed his fist on the table, his face flushed with anger. The news of the fire in Springfield and Mickey Garza's death had shattered his composure. Some madman destroyed the entire branch, he roared over the phone to Jack Ryan, the former CIA director, now his security advisor. Jack frowned, his voice low. That was no madman. Gordon. That was Alex Bourne, a former agent of the Guardians. He won't stop, Gordon scoffed, but his eyes betrayed his nervousness. Assemble a team of mercenaries. Take him out before he gets here. Jack reluctantly nodded and contacted an elite mercenary team in Madrid. But deep down, fear was rising. He had heard of Alex, an unstoppable phantom. Gordon, President Selina Meyer's son, had no idea who he was dealing with. Jack called an old contact at the CIA for more information. The response made his blood run cold. Alex Bourne isn't just an agent, he's a nightmare. Meanwhile, Olivia Benson and Matt Wilkins stood in the ruins of Mrs. Betty White's warehouse in Boston. Smoke still rose from the wreckage of the truck under the bridge where Mickey Garza's body was found. Olivia surveyed the scene, her heart in turmoil. It was Alex, she said, her voice trembling. He's not just killing people. He's hunting the entire network. Matt shook his head, checking his laptop. The transactions from Springfield lead to a larger branch in Madrid, Spain. If Alex is headed there, we need to move fast. Olivia nodded, her eyes resolute. We fly to Madrid. I'll find him, whether to arrest him or to understand him. Matsaihed. Olivia. He's not an ordinary criminal. He has skills and a motive. Be careful. You might be chasing a ghost. Olivia didn't reply. She got into the car, ready for the flight. Part of her was furious that Alex was taking the law into his own hands. But another part understood. Mrs. Betty didn't deserve to die for the greed of some con artists. At the warehouse, Alex prepared to leave Boston. He checked his gear bag, a silenced pistol, a dagger, and a small encryption device. A message from the Guardians appeared. Madrid, Spain. Major branch at Plaza Mayor. Gordon Gekko is in charge. A mercenary team is waiting. Alex nodded and put the device away. He got into his car and headed for the airport. The hunt was escalating, and he knew there was no turning back. On the plane to Madrid, Olivia sat by the window, watching the clouds drift by. She recalled the last time she spoke to her mother, how Mrs. Betty's voice was filled with pride as she talked about Alex. He's such a good man. Olivia? Like a son to me. The words were a sharp pain in her chest. She wondered if Alex was truly a bad guy, or if he was just doing what the system couldn't. Matt, sitting beside her, opened his laptop. I've found information on Gordon Gekko. He's President Selina Meyer's son, and he's behind a global fraud network. If Alex is targeting him, this is going to be a war. Alex landed in Madrid at dawn. The city was still quiet, but he didn't stop. He rented a car and drove to Plaza Mayor, where Gordon's branch operated. The tall building was brightly lit, hiding the filth inside. Alex watched from a distance, spotting the mercenary team on patrol. He knew this wasn't just a branch, but the operational heart of the network. He checked his weapon, his gaze turning razor sharp. For Mrs. Betty, he whispered, and melted into the shadows. Meanwhile, Gordon was meeting with Jack in a secure office. "I want Alex Bourne dead before sunrise," he ordered. Jack nodded, but his eyes were filled with worry. He knew that confronting Alex was suicide. "I'll send the best team," Jack said. But inwardly, he braced for failure. Alex slipped into the building through a service entrance. He neutralized a mercenary with a swift blow to the neck and took his security card. The elevator doors opened, and the sound of the fraudulent operators' voices filled the air. Alex gave a cold smile. The battle had just begun, and Gordon Gekko would soon learn the price of greed. Plaza Mayor in Madrid, Spain, was ablaze with light at dawn. But a tense atmosphere enveloped Gordon Gekko's branch office. Alex Bourne stood in the shadows, observing the mercenary team patrolling the main entrance. He adjusted his binoculars and counted them. 8 men, armed with assault rifles and communication earpieces. This high-rise was the regional command center for the fraud network, and Alex knew this was the turning point in his hunt. He checked his silenced pistol, took a deep breath, and whispered, "For Mrs. Betty White." Alex slipped through a fire escape, moving as silently as a phantom. A mercenary standing guard near the door had no time to react, as Alex lunged, putting him in a chokehold and taking him down. He took the man's keycard and opened a door into a service hallway. Inside, the sound of keyboards clicking and the cloyingly sweet voices of the scam operators drifted out. "Just provide your password, ma'am, and we'll protect your account," one voice said through a headset. Alex clenched his fists, his rage simmering. He breached the main floor, where the branch manager, Rico Alvarez, was overseeing operations. Rico was a middle-aged man with slick-back hair and gold-rimmed glasses, confidently directing his employees from a large monitor. Alex stepped out of the shadows, his pistol leveled. "Hang up your phones, all of you," he commanded, his voice like ice. The room erupted in panic as employees scrambled to get away. Rico sneered and drew a handgun. "Who do you think you are?" Some kind of hero, but Alex didn't answer. He threw a smoke grenade, and the room was instantly obscured. Gunshots rang out, but Alex was already moving, taking down 2 bodyguards with his dagger. Rico tried to run, but Alex caught him, slamming him down on a desk. "Who's your boss?" he roared, pressing the pistol to the man's temple. Rico, sweat pouring down his face, stammered, "Gordon Gekko. He's in Paris. France in a mansion on the Champs. Élysée, let me go." Alex nodded, teared Rico to a chair, and doused the room with an accelerant. "This is justice," he said, and struck a match. The fire roared to life, consuming the office. Alex walked away, leaving Rico to scream in the inferno. At that moment, Olivia Benson and Matt Wilkins's plane touched down in Madrid. They received a report about the fire at Plaza Mayor and rushed to the scene. Black smoke billowed into the sky as Spanish police cordoned off the area. A surviving employee described the attacker, trembling. A tall man. He moved like an assassin. Told us to hang up our phones, and then torched the whole place. Olivia clenched her fists. "It's Alex Bourne," she said, her eyes glinting. Matt checked his data, discovering that transactions from this branch led to Paris, France. "He's going for the head of the snake," Matt said. Olivia nodded. "We have to get to Paris before he kills again." On a street in Madrid, Olivia suddenly came face to face with Alex at a corner. He was leaving the scene, his black jacket smudged with ash. Olivia drew her weapon and aimed it at him. "Alex." "Freeze, why are you doing this?" Alex looked at her, his eyes full of sorrow. "Mrs. Betty deserved justice. Olivia, the law failed her. So I won't. Olivia hesitated, her finger trembling on the trigger. She remembered her mother's smile, the pride in her voice when she spoke of Alex. Go, she said, lowering her gun. Alex nodded and vanished into the crowd. In Paris, Gordon Gekko received news of the fire in Madrid. He slammed his desk and screamed at Jack Ryan. You said he was a retired agent. How is he so capable? Jack replied in a low voice. Because he's Alex Bourne. Once he sets his sights on a target, no one escapes. Gordon panicked and ordered security to be tripled at his Paris mansion. Jack contacted a new assassin, Anya Volkov, from the Guardians. Eliminate Alex, he ordered. Anya, a cold-blooded killer, smiled on the other end of the line. He'll be dead before dawn. Olivia and Matt reported to the FBI deputy director via video call. Alex Bourne is targeting Gordon Gekko in Paris. Olivia stated, he has the skills of an agent and may be linked to a clandestine organization. The deputy director nodded, authorizing the deployment of a SWAT team. Bring them both in. Alex and Gordon, don't let this spiral out of control. Olivia agreed. But in her heart, she wondered if the law could ever truly deliver justice for her mother. Alex sat in a shabby hotel in Madrid, checking a message from the Guardians. Gordon Gekko's mansion, Champs-Élysées, Paris. Heavy mercenaries. An assassin is hunting you. He put the device away, his eyes cold. He got in his car and headed for Paris. The war was about to enter a brutal phase, and Gordon Gekko would face the wrath of a ghost. A cold wind blew through the Champs-Élysées in Paris, France, where the brilliant yellow lights could not hide the tense atmosphere. Alex Bourne stood in a dark alley, observing Gordon Gekko's lavish mansion. The building was surrounded by a steel fence and a team of rifle-wielding mercenaries. He knew this was not just a branch, but the nerve center of the scam network that had taken everything from Mrs. Betty White. Alex checked his gear, a silenced pistol, a dagger, and a signal jammer. For Mrs. Betty, he whispered, his eyes sharp and cold. He activated the jammer, disabling the security cameras for a few minutes. Alex climbed over the fence, moving like a ghost. A mercenary guarding a side gate had no time to react as Alex lunged, striking the back of his neck and dropping him. He took the security card and slipped into a service corridor. Inside the mansion, the voices of Gordon and Jack Ryan, the former CIA director, echoed from the meeting room. Gordon was ordering increased security, his voice trembling with fear. Who is this Alex Bourne that dares to challenge me? He roared. Jack replied in a low voice. He is someone who never gives up. Alex advanced to the main floor, where the scammers were still busy making calls. He threw a smoke grenade, plunging the room into haze. Mercenaries charged in, but Alex dodged their bullets, taking them down one by one with his dagger. One tried to fire a machine gun, but Alex rolled and threw a knife, pinning the man's hand. Screams echoed, mingling with the sound of shattering glass. He stormed the meeting room, where Gordon was hiding behind a desk. Jack drew his gun, but Alex was faster, breaking his arm and throwing him to the floor. Stay down. Jack, he said, his voice as cold as ice. Gordon panicked and tried to run. Alex grabbed him by the collar, pressing a gun to his temple. Tell me, who is behind the network? Gordon stammered. I'm just one part of it. My mother, Selena Meyer, knows nothing. Alex's grip tightened. Mrs. Betty White died because of your greed. Gordon begged. But Alex did not listen. He tied him to a chair and doused him with a flammable chemical. Justice for Mrs. Betty, he said, preparing to set him ablaze. Suddenly, A volley of bullets tore through the window. Anya Volkov, an assassin from the Guardians, appeared in an armored vehicle, its six-barreled machine gun whining. "Alex, your time is up," she yelled. Opening fire. Alex rolled away from the gunfire, pulling Gordon in front of him as a shield. He threw a flashbang grenade, disorienting Anya. Alex dove through the window, landing on an adjacent rooftop, luring Anya outside. The battle erupted onto the streets of Paris. Under the glittering lights, Anya gave chase. Her machine gun roaring, Alex ran through the alleys, dodging bullets, then suddenly turned and threw a knife into the vehicle's tire. The car flipped and burst into flames. Anya crawled from the wreckage, drew a knife, and charged. "You are a traitor." "Alex," she screamed. The two engaged in close combat, their knives clashing and sparking. Alex, with his superior experience, stabbed Anya in the shoulder, causing her to collapse. "Time to retire," he said, setting the vehicle ablaze to cover his tracks. Meanwhile, Olivia Benson and Matt Wilkins landed in Paris after receiving a report of an explosion on the Champs-Élysées. They rushed to the scene to find the wreckage and the burned-out vehicle. A witness described it. A man was fighting a female assassin. Just like in an action movie, Olivia clenched her fist. "It is Alex Bourne." Matt checked the data and found that Gordon Gekko was still at the mansion. He is the final target. Olivia. But Alex is not acting alone. There is an organization behind him. Olivia reported to the FBI's deputy director over the radio. Alex is hunting Gordon Gekko, the son of President Selina Meyer. "We need a SWAT team in Paris now." The deputy director agreed, but warned, "Do not let this trace back to Selina. Keep it quiet." Olivia nodded, but her heart was in turmoil. She remembered Alex's words in Madrid, "What the law cannot do, I will." She wondered if she was chasing justice or just its shadow. At the mansion, Gordon trembled as he called his mother. "Selina Meyer." "Mom." "Some madman is hunting me," he screamed. Selina replied in a cold voice, "You brought this on yourself." "Gordon, Jack Ryan will handle it." But Jack, standing nearby, knew Alex was not an easy opponent. He contacted the Guardians to request another assassin, but was told Alex, "Is your problem. We are neutral." Jack cursed under his breath. Preparing for the final battle, Alex left the fiery scene and checked his encrypted device. A message from the Guardians read Gordon's mansion. Champs-Élysées. Heavy mercenaries. Be careful. Selina Meyer might intervene. Alex put the device away. His eyes determined. He knew the fight was about to reach its climax. Alex Bourne sat in a shabby hotel on the outskirts of Paris, France, the faint light from a desk lamp illuminating his scarred face. He cleaned his dagger, his mind drifting to memories of Mrs. Betty White. "You are like a son to me, Alex," she had once said, her gentle smile soothing him. But now she was gone, and the fire of justice within him burned brighter than ever. He checked his encrypted device. A message from the Guardians appeared. Gordon Gekko's mansion. Champs-Élysées. Elite mercenaries. Selina Meyer may appear. Alex nodded, his eyes sharp and cold. The fight was coming to an end. At Gordon Gekko's mansion, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Jack Ryan, the former CIA director, was directing the mercenary team led by Lazarus Kane, a cocky South African. Lazarus boasted, "I have killed agents like Bourne before. He will not get away." Jack shook his head, his voice low. "Alex Bourne is no ordinary agent. If you fail, no one can save Gordon." Gordon, trembling in the safe room, called his mother, President Selina Meyer. "Mom." "He is coming. Save me," Selina replied coldly over the phone. "Jack will handle it. Do not disappoint me again." Gordon. Alex approached the mansion under the cover of darkness. He activated his jammer, disabling the cameras and the alarm system. The mercenaries patrolling the main gate were oblivious to the approaching danger. Alex scaled the wall and took one down with a swift blow to the neck. He slipped into a service corridor, staying out of the light. The heavy footsteps of Lazarus echoed in the distance. Alex hid, biding his time. Inside, Gordon ordered the scammers to keep working. "Nobody stops. We make millions a day," he yelled. But then Alex appeared, his gun aimed steady. "Hang up now," he said, his voice like ice. The panicked employees fled. Lazarus led his team of mercenaries storming in, machine guns roaring. Alex rolled, dodging the bullets, and threw a smoke grenade. The room filled with haze as screams and gunfire erupted in chaos. Alex moved like a phantom, taking down one mercenary after another. A man charged with a knife. But Alex broke his arm and plunged his dagger into his chest. Lazarus fired his rifle. But Alex leaped over a desk, kicked the weapon away, and punched him in the face. Lazarus collapsed, groaning. "Who are you?" he rasped. Alex did not answer, dragging him into a corner and tying him up. Gordon hid in the safe room, sweat pouring down his face. Jack Ryan stood outside, his gun drawn. "Bourne." "Stop! You cannot win," Jack yelled. But Alex had already hacked the safe room door and stepped inside. Gordon begged, "I was just doing business, spare me." Alex pressed the gun to his forehead. "Mrs. Betty White died because of you. Tell me, who is behind all of this?" Gordon stammered. "My mother does not know. I only used the money to help her." Alex's grip tightened, preparing to finish him. At the same time, Olivia Benson and Matt Wilkins arrived at the Champs-Élysées in Paris. They received a report of an explosion at the mansion and rushed in. A SWAT team had cordoned off the area, but Olivia could feel the chaos inside. "It is Alex," she said, her eyes determined. Matt checked the data. Discovering Gordon was the key to the network. If Alex kills him, Selina Meyer herself will be implicated. Matt warned. Olivia nodded and drew her gun. "We have to stop him. But I am not sure if I want to arrest him or help him." Olivia and Matt stormed the mansion. Finding the bodies of mercenaries everywhere, they reached the safe room, where Alex was confronting Gordon. Olivia shouted, "Alex, stop, he has to stand trial." Alex turned, his eyes somber. "The law failed, Mrs. Betty." "Olivia, I cannot let more innocent people die." Olivia hesitated, her finger trembling on the trigger. She remembered her mother's smile, the pain of loss. "Go," she said, lowering her gun. Alex nodded, preparing to leave. But Jack Ryan suddenly appeared, pointing his gun at Alex. "You are not getting away." "Bourne," he roared. Alex did not flinch, throwing his dagger and pinning Jack's hand, making him fall. Gordon took advantage of the chaos and ran for the door. But Alex caught up and grabbed him by the collar. "The game is over," he said, his eyes cold. Olivia and Matt stood by, not interfering. Alex dragged Gordon to the server room, where the system running the scam network operated. He hacked into the computer and downloaded data on the illicit transactions. "Here is the proof," he said, tossing a USB drive to Olivia. "Use it to take down Selina Meyer." Olivia clutched the USB, her heart in turmoil. She knew Alex was doing the right thing, but it was outside the law. Alex left the mansion, disappearing into the Parisian night. Olivia reported to the FBI's Deputy Director, Gordon Gecko is alive. But Alex Bourne has escaped. We have evidence against the network. The deputy director ordered find Bourne at all costs. But Olivia knew that chasing Alex was like chasing a ghost. Alex Bourne hid in an alley across the street, his sharp eyes watching the mercenaries on patrol. He knew this was the final battle, where the scam network would either collapse or he would fall. In his pocket, he carried a silenced pistol, a dagger, and a small explosive device. The image of Mrs. Proffus, Betty White, appeared in his mind, her voice echoing, "You are a good man." Alex. He clenched his fist and whispered, "Justice for you." Alex activated the jammer, disabling the security system. He climbed over the fence, taking out a mercenary with a blow to the back of the neck. The main entrance was sealed, but he found a service hatch and slipped inside. Inside, Gordon was in an urgent meeting with Jack Ryan and Lazarus Kane. The South African mercenary. "Bourne is coming," Gordon screamed, his voice trembling. Jack tried to remain calm. "We have an elite team." "Gordon, he will not get through." But Lazarus sneered, "I will break him." Alex moved through the dark corridors, avoiding the cameras. He heard Gordon ordering his employees to continue their scams. Nobody stops. The money has to keep flowing. Alex entered the server room where the network's operating system was running. He hacked the computer, downloading data on the illicit transactions. Suddenly, Lazarus and his team stormed in, machine guns roaring. Alex rolled, dodging the bullets, and threw a smoke grenade. The room filled with haze and screams. He took down 3 men with his dagger, their blood staining the floor. Lazarus charged, his knife flashing. "You are dead." "Bourne," he roared. Alex dodged the thrust, kicked him in the knee, then punched him in the face. Lazarus fell but still sneered. "You will never touch." Gordon. Alex did not reply. Tying him to a pillar and leaving him alive, he advanced to the safe room where Gordon was hiding. Jack Ryan blocked the door, gun aimed. "Stop. Bourne, you cannot destroy all of this." Alex threw his knife, pinning Jack by the shoulder and making him fall. He hacked the door and entered. Gordon trembled behind the desk, his eyes wild with panic. "Spare me, I was just doing business." Alex pressed his gun to Gordon's forehead. "Mrs. Betty White died because of you. Tell me, how much does your mother know?" Gordon stammered. "Selina Meyer knows nothing. I did it myself." Alex tightened his grip, ready to shoot. But Olivia Benson and Matt Wilkins burst in, their guns aimed at him. "Alex, stop," Olivia yelled. "He has to stand trial." Alex turned, his eyes somber. "The law failed." "Olivia." "Mrs. Betty never got her chance." Olivia hesitated, her finger trembling on the trigger. She remembered her mother, the pain of loss. Matt whispered, "Olivia, if he kills Gordon, Selina Meyer will be implicated." Olivia nodded, but her heart was in turmoil. "Alex, bring him to justice. Let me do my job." Alex shook his head. "Justice cannot wait." "Olivia." He threw her the USB drive containing the scam data. "Use this. Take down Selina too, if you have to." Gordon took advantage of the chaos and ran for the door. Alex chased him down, grabbing him by the collar in the main hallway. Jack Ryan, though wounded, struggled to his feet, yelling, "You are not getting away, Bourne." But Alex kicked him down, focusing on Gordon. He activated an explosive device in the room, and a red light began to flash. "You will die with me," Gordon laughed maniacally. Alex looked at the countdown timer, 12 seconds. He watched Gordon calmly, his gaze unwavering. Gordon panicked and lunged with a knife, but Alex dodged it easily. 10 seconds. Alex counted silently, circling Gordon. 8 seconds. Gordon screamed, swinging the knife wildly. 6 seconds. Alex grabbed his hand, breaking his wrist. 4 seconds. He leaped over a desk and hacked the control panel. 2 seconds. Alex disarmed the explosive device, and the red light went out. Gordon roared, but Alex shot him once in the leg, causing him to collapse. "Justice for Mrs. Betty," he said, his voice cold. Olivia and Matt ran up, their guns still aimed at Alex. "Don't." Olivia yelled, but he looked at her, his gaze full of meaning. "Use that USB." "Olivia, end the network." He turned and disappeared through the window. Gordon groaned on the floor. Alive, but defeated. Olivia clutched the USB, her heart heavy. She knew Alex was right, but the law was a line she could not cross. At the mansion, Jack Ryan was being taken by the SWAT team for medical attention. Olivia reported over the radio, "Gordon Gekko is in custody. Alex Bourne escaped. We have evidence against the network. The deputy director ordered find Bourne. He's too dangerous." But Olivia looked out at the Champs-Élysées, where Alex had vanished. She wondered, does justice truly lie in the hands of the law? Gordon Gekko's mansion on the Champs-Élysées had just descended into chaos, and he knew this was the last chance to end the fraud network that had taken Mrs. Betty White's life. In his mind, a voice echoed, gentle yet clear, "You are a good man, Alex." He tightened his grip on his dagger, preparing for the final battle. Inside the mansion, Gordon Gekko dragged himself across the floor, his leg bleeding from Alex's gunshot. He screamed at Jack Ryan, who was receiving first aid from the SWAT team. "You let him get away. You're useless, Jack." His face pale, shook his head. "Bourne isn't an ordinary man. Gordon, he's a nightmare." Gordon shot up, activating the final security system, a bomb in the server room. A 12-second countdown timer flashing red. "If ID, everyone dies." He laughed maniacally, his eyes flashing with desperation. Alex, hidden in the hallway, heard the timer. He silently turned back, his calm gaze fixed on Gordon. 12 seconds. Gordon gripped his knife and lunged, screaming, "You're not getting away." "Bourne, Alex, stu still." Counting silently. 10 seconds. He swung the knife, but Alex dodged slightly, his eyes never leaving his opponent. 8 seconds. Gordon panicked, swinging the knife wildly, but Alex moved like a ghost, maintaining his distance. 6 seconds. He grabbed Gordon's hand, breaking his wrist, and the knife fell. 4 seconds. Alex vaulted over the console, his fingers flying across the keyboard. 2 seconds. He disarmed the bomb, and the red light stopped flashing. Gordon screamed, but Alex shot him in the shoulder, sending him to the ground. "Justice for Mrs. Betty," Alex said, his voice as cold as ice. He turned to see Olivia Benson and Matt Wilkins burst in, their guns aimed at him. "Alex, stop," Olivia yelled, her voice trembling. She clutched the USB with the fraud data that Alex had given her, her mind in turmoil. "He has to go to trial." Alex looked at her, his eyes somber. "Olivia, the law is slower than justice." "Mrs. Betty couldn't wait," Matt whispered Olivia. "If he kills Gordon, Selina Meyer will be dragged into this." Suddenly, Selina Meyer, the President of the United States, appeared at the main entrance, surrounded by Secret Service agents. "Gordon, what are you doing?" she yelled, her voice filled with pain. Gordon, groaning on the floor, pointed at Alex. He destroyed everything. Selina looked at Alex, her gaze sharp and cold. "Who are you to dare touch my son?" Alex replied calmly. "I am the one who brings justice for people like Mrs. Betty White." Selina was stunned. But before she could react, Gordon snatched a gun from an agent and aimed it at his own mother. "This is all your fault," Gordon screamed, his finger trembling on the trigger. Alex lunged forward, fast as lightning, twisting his arm. A shot rang out, and Gordon collapsed, blood pooling on the floor. Selina fell beside her son's body, tears streaming. "No," she screamed, her voice filled with heart-wrenching pain. Olivia aimed her gun at Alex, but her eyes were full of conflict. "Alex, you've gone too far," she said. Her voice choked. Alex looked at Olivia with a meaningful gaze. "You have to choose. Olivia, the law or justice?" He threw his knife to the floor and walked to the window. Matt tried to stop him, but Olivia lowered her gun. "Let him go," she whispered. Alex leaped onto the roof below and vanished into the night. Olivia clutched the USB. Knowing its data would expose both Selina Meyer and the fraud network, at a beach near the mansion, Alex dug a wetsuit from the sand where he had stashed it. He put it on, the moonlight illuminating his scarred face. He looked back at Paris one last time, then dived into the deep sea, disappearing like a phantom. Olivia and Matt stood on the shore, watching the waves. "What are we going to report?" Matt asked. Olivia said, "The truth. But Alex Bourne will not be caught. He is justice." Inside the mansion, Selina cradled Gordon's body, tears falling. Jack Ryan, now bandaged, shook his head. "He warned us," he said, his voice bitter. Olivia handed the USB to the SWAT team, ordering an analysis. The data would expose the network, but Alex had already completed his mission. Justice for Mrs. Betty had been served, but the line between right and wrong remained blurred. Olivia looked out at the sea, her heart heavy. She knew pursuing Alex was futile. He was a phantom, an unsung hero, leaving behind a chaotic Paris and a measure of justice delivered in his own way,